So I know this is the moment that you've all been waiting for. So this next introduction is for an individual who needs no introduction, but for the sake of customs, I must. Ravinder Singh, whom we all know as Ravi Singh, was born in Singapore and is a founder and the chief coordinator of Khalsa Aid. Ravi Singh has taken it upon himself to create a world that believes in equality and charity. He really brings Bhai Veer Singh Ji's poem to life, and I think here that poet does the most justice to the emotions and admiration that we hold for him. The poem goes, Sine khich janane khadi, o kar aram nahi bende. Neho wale naina ki neendar, o dine raat pai vende. Ikko lagan lagi le jandi, hai tor anant onadi. Vaslo ure mukam na koi, so chal pai nitrende. Through Khalsa Aid, Ravi Singh has been reaching out to various corners of the world, helping those who are in need, and in turn, rekindling people's trust in humanity. He has been serving all in the service of the one. So please join me with your loudest applause, Ravi Singh onto stage.
Okay, we'll just hold the mics. So, Waheguru Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. Ravi Singh Ji, we did this yesterday in Edmonton. I live in a different format where we ask some questions, I ask some questions, trying to keep it a bit more conversational. Ravi Singh Ji, everyone is here, Sangat is here to show their love, their appreciation for the work you do. I know even just today when I was driving over here, I got in a cab and the driver asked me what I was going to go do at Punjabi Cultural Center. He asked me, are you going for a biah? I said, oh, Ravi Singh's here. And he said, Khalsa Aid? And I said, absolutely. And this man was excited. The love that these people have for you, Ravi Singh Ji. But we want to get down, we want to get into the background, the story, the history, what made the organization, who you are as a person. I mean, yesterday we heard about the story from the Bind to Bangladesh. Probably not the ideal career arc for most people. But so tell us, Ravi Singh Ji, born in Punjab, in Hushiyarpur, where do you go from there?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. First of all, really humbling to see so many of the Sangha turn up today. Truly, I should have been a Baba, so we could have walked away some millions and all that sort of stuff. Can I be your Baba? So, you know what makes it, I think what we forget sometimes, we look for unity. We want unity. And I think in the last few years, Khalsa Aid has provided unity because look, across the spectrum, we're supported by every single group from different backgrounds, and it's brilliant. So, so thank you for turning up on a weekday, and thank you to WS for arranging this, and Panji Vrindakor here. If you stand up, please, because this is very important. You don't want to stand up, so if you need to stand up for a minute. I'll tell you why, because for 4 years,
had been, they had requested to honor you. Maybe you can go into that a bit.
I think there's a mix-up also. Recently, about 2-3 weeks ago, a British organization, Indian organization, they emailed the office that, very nice email, we'd like to honor you as a British Indian of the Year nomination. We want to nominate you. It was a nomination. And then I spoke to Andrew, who works in the office also, my PA. He said, what shall I tell them? I said, just hang on for a few days. And about 4 or 5 days later, I replied. He replied for me, thank you so much for the honor. We have to be always civil. We appreciate everything, but Ravi Singh does not identify himself as an Indian. He identifies as other Punjabi or a British Sikh. And they returned the email back very nicely. Thank you, for sending us an email. We understand, etc., etc. And that was that. And I just posted one line on my personal Facebook, having a little, like a joke amongst my friends. And next thing you know, it's gone around the world, and people tell the Indian government, oh, no, they're not cigar. Come on, they're not going to give me an arm. Maybe a slap or two, not an arm. So Ravi Singh here in the front works in the office. So, it wasn't the first time we turned back or turned down an award from the State Indian High Commissioner. We said, no, I just don't want to accept it, purely because we never had justice. I said to them, I posted the 3 conditions, simple conditions: give us justice, these 2-3 conditions, and I will call myself Ravi Singh Indian on Facebook. It wasn't anything else, it was just on justice. But there are other people playing silly games with it. It was purely for justice. There was nothing else in it. And we'll be proud. In the meantime, I'll always be proud of my roots, which is Punjab. If you follow me, I always talk about, I'm proud Punjabi, and Punjabi roots, Punjabi heritage, and so should all you guys should be if you're from Punjab too. So it wasn't sinister. It's my opinion that I can't sell myself short for an award just to go and take a picture and say, look at me, look, I've taken an award and I'm now being nominated for this. And so I just cannot call myself Indian. If it offends someone, so be it. I can't change my principles. You give us justice, we'll become proud.
Yeah, and I think that's a very commendable position, absolutely. And I think continuing on that theme, the question becomes, Ravi Singh, when 1999 this organization is founded, and we'll get into the origin story, but for 10 years you didn't enter Punjab. Kind of tell us about that.
Well, in 1999, when we founded Khalsa, it was a response to the Kosovo crisis in Europe, and it was a massive problem. Refugees crossing into Albania, Sikhs were celebrating 300 years of the Khalsa, and we were again doing the same thing we do every year. If you've been to Sikh festival, if you're a non-Sikh here, you will see that it's abundance of food, as we do all over the world. So I questioned it. I said, why don't we do something for the refugees in Europe, a few hundred miles away, who are struggling for a piece of bread, and yet, we're wasting so much food. So talked to my friends, and we started a mission to Albania, the first mission. And then after that mission, somebody said, oh, we need to do this in Punjab, and we need to do that in Punjab. And I said, look, we will enter Punjab, but not then. We need to strengthen ourselves outside Punjab. In those days, as Pai Gyal Singh and other elders here, and people who are in the know will know, a lot of people collected money for back home for the Shaheed Parvaz, and it never reached. So if we said we're going to work in Punjab, we'll be saying, oh, well, here's another organization just going to steal our money. So I said to the people around me, we will work hard for the next 10 years to win the trust of the Sangha, because the trust of the Sangha wasn't lost accidentally, it was also intentionally. People of Punjab needed us. The dark powers made sure that everyone will say, we can't trust anyone in Punjab, don't send money. So somebody along the way made us all turn against our own state, our own people, due to mistrust. So we were going to win that trust over through hard work around the world. And thanks to people like yourselves who believed in the mission. Like I said before, it was a one-man band almost. We had my friends, but people are busy. So I decided to take a rucksack and go around the world and get into places like Somalia, Congo, and do the work. But it was hard work. And it was all about winning the trust. And why do you support Khalsa? Because we're out there. Even now, 8 years later, we're still in Haiti. We didn't walk away. We're still with the Rohingya refugees every month after August. We're still in Iraq. We're still in Malawi. We're still in Turkey. We're still in Lebanon. Our projects continue. We don't walk away because you guys trust us. So that's why we chose the 10-year plan, and it worked. It was, it's hard work, but I always say to the community, you've got great people who founded great organizations. You must have a plan. You can't do short-termism. You've got to look at 10, 20-year plans.
And so, Ravi Singh, talk about the spark that led to the creation of Khalsa Aid. And maybe you can go into a bit of your early childhood as an ILTI kid who liked to get up to a lot of trouble, and the evolution from that period.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to my village, hopefully it doesn't come a shrine. But anyway, if you go to my village, you will see that the elders would know my name, and my friend Charanjit Singh Channi, who was murdered by the Punjab police in '89, and a couple of other kids. In the village, I was known as Vinda, and I went to school with a guy called Ravi, Channi and the guys, and Ravi we were about 9 when one day Ravi didn't turn up to school, and he lived in the next village, and we said he'll be back tomorrow. The next day, he's been cremated. Something happened, he died, I'm not sure. Nobody knows, I still don't know what happened to him. So I took his name, Ravi, so remember him. He's basically gone missing from our lives. So me and Channi, or Channa, who if you follow my social media, you know as well, we were very, very naughty kids. We were so bad, like I said to you before, like I think the whole village probably beat me up. Every person in the village probably slapped me one time or another. And my mom didn't care, she was hormone with it. So I remember, like, like you guys here, like sometimes your mothers pamper you. If you're not Punjabi here, Punjabi mothers don't. So this is me at the age of about 8. My mom's talking to someone. There's a wall like made out of clay, and there's big holes. So I pick up a stick and I start poking these massive wasps. So they come up, and all the wasps came out, started attacking me over my head, like I was like swollen. She waited for me to come around, and a big slap or another slap. She goes, a ball fell on me once, and she's taking the bricks away, and then just to beat me up, sort of thing. Why did you do this? So that's Punjabi mother. So she toughened me.
That's traumatic.
And I was so stubborn. It's like my teacher would, Sindh Kaur, I think it was, she would get me like this. She goes, right, I've never studied, by the way, to the 5th class. You only pass if you pass the paper and stay in the year. My uncle used to give a bottle of whiskey to the teacher, and Ravi Singh passed. So I passed. And you know it works in the pen. I don't even know. So my uncle was Jinder Singh, really close to me. So my teacher would beat me up, and she goes, so I'll be saying, you can beat much as you want, it doesn't hurt. She'd turn around like that and beat me. It'll hurt like hell. And I'll be like tears coming down. I said, no, it doesn't hurt. Right? So it's like skin coming off. That's how stubborn I was. But it was Channi, the connection with Channi why we came this way. So I left my village in '81, came to England, forgot everything, got stuck in. Then I became a very wayward teenager. Things I'd done Punjabi and Sikh boys shouldn't do, left home, ran away, done this. Gave my mum a massive sort of like heartache. I always wanted the worst kid a parent, Punjabi Sikh parents could ever have. And then one day in the mid-90s, I was reading, I've got a book actually, I'm not reading it, I picked up a book somebody gave me. It's called India Kills the Sikhs by one Sundar guy.
Avtar Singh Zekho.
So I opened them, I just flicked it open in the middle. Straight away I saw a picture, and the eyes, it's hundreds of pictures, black and white, and these eyes looked at me. So I referenced it was Charanjit Singh Channi Pind Mundia Jatan. That was my best friend in childhood. He had a beard then, turban, the pictures in the mid-90s. So I rang my mom at 10:30 at night. I said, Channi, what happened to Channi? She said, what do you care? You become so Western now, you don't care about anyone, put the phone down. And then I researched more, I was like awake all night. I was the type of guy that, had to look 20 times in the mirror before I left. I was so vain, I had to dress up, I was partying. And that night, I just sat down on the sofa thinking that I'm never going to see Channi again. And I let him down, all this guilt trip, everything went through the mind. The next day I wore a turban and whatever I could tie, and I went to work. And everyone around me was shocked, saying, oh my God, this Ravi, we never expect him to be, because I was the main guy leading all the parties, going out clubs. And generally, his murder was he was tortured in 5 police stations. He was tortured so badly he couldn't move that one of the doctors who knew some in the village told the family that the last police station, Ajit Singh Sandhu, SSP Sandhu asked for him, but they killed him on the way. And then when he was almost dead, they put an AK-47 in his hand outside the village and announced on the radio, terror, encounter with the terrorist. Here's the picture of AK-47, and the policeman got an award. So many rewards were paid, as you know, for young Sikhs killed in fake encounters. Still goes on other parts and in Kashmir and all that. So that really changed my life. When we talk about 91, 92, who was the finest minister, you can find out who the finest minister was. I'll tell you what I'll do. This is for you to Google later on. Who was the finest minister of India in 91, 92? You will tell me Manmohan Singh. So you want to know how many bounties are paid? Ask him when he visits you. So people like that know how many bounties are paid to Punjab police. Our boys were killed just for no reason. So this was my turning point. So I'm always talking about justice. I'm always talking about we need to talk about it. No matter how famous, I might only have 5 followers or 200,000 followers, I don't change. I don't keep shouting out to police someone saying, I get a lot of people saying, why do you keep talking about this, just do your humanitarian work, you don't need to talk about human rights or this. But humanitarianism is about human rights. It only hurts some people because I want to talk about Sikh human rights. I can talk about Syrian, Yazidis, Iraqis, all sorts of people. But when I talk about Sikhs, that's it, I get trolled. Why? So this is the turning point. That was my turning point.
And maybe if you can expand upon that, Ravi, which is, talk about the 91, 92, we go back to 1984, Sikh genocide, and some of the language around that. We talked about this yesterday. We still have the struggle in the community, we still have the struggle in the media, riots, communal violence, it was chaos and nobody could stop this. It was out of control. Language is important, and you touched on it now, which is labeling of you and labeling of what's happened in history.
Well, the language, the terminology. 2 days ago I met a Singh. He said, this is my father. I was talking about 84. You know what he said to me? This is my father. He was in the riots. He nearly got killed in the riots. I said, sorry, which riots? You have riots here in BC? He said, no, in Delhi. I said, when was the riots? He said, don't you know, 1984. I said, there was no riots. I said, you mean genocide? If the sons of those called up are calling it riots, what hope do we have? The terminology is very important. I think there's a saying like, all Khalistanis are the only ones talking about genocide. There's a big taboo. If you say genocide, you're a Khalistani, that's it. If you talk about justice, you're a Khalistani. If you keep talking about both, you're an ISI-sponsored Khalistani. Simple. Then you're anti-Indian, and so on and so. Terminology, for you guys sitting here today, take it back with you. Don't tolerate somebody saying, Sikh riots. So I commend Jagmeet Singh at least putting it through somewhere to get a genocide. And that, it was a genocide. Genocide terminology is when a particular community or people are targeted for their beliefs, for their appearance, for the different, and that's what happened. There was no riots going on. So there's a lot of stuff that, like fake encounters, I don't hear that from any of you guys, or not you guys, but from the Sangha, on media, on social media. It's very common. Fake encounters doesn't just happen in Punjab or Kashmir or other places. It happens around the world. So maybe if you're hashtagging something, and you're talking about, say, another Palestine or whatever, and you respond, they'll know it happened to you as well. So terminology is very important.
Yeah, and maybe talking about that too, I know you talking about the Sikh genocide and the struggle that some Canadian politicians have been pushing to make sure that we recognize this as a genocide, and the pushback from the government of India. And you've talked about the challenges of working in India. Can you kind of expand upon that? Talk about the programs that you've got going on there and the ongoing struggles.
Yeah, I mean, we worked like during the rise of ISIS, We were, as ISIS was coming towards Mosul and taking over areas, the refugees are leaving their homes and coming into Kurdistan, borders of Syria and Iraq. And I was there in that time, August 2014. And you could see the struggle, what was going on, and we took money with us. We could take now $100,000 to Iraq, and we won't get harassment. In India, when you're a foreign organization, it's very difficult. They're following you. We get visits from intelligence almost 4 or 5 times a month, which is almost a weekly basis. We have our books. Everything with Khalsa India is registered. Every little thing. So when you make a donation, it's in Patiala HQ. If you're not going to Patiala, we'll come to you. You come and see what we do. So everything is documented. We got professional staff, but we get so much harassment. They don't beat us up or threaten us with violence. It was just continuous treating us suspiciously as if we are doing something wrong, which is unacceptable. You know, if you got suspicion, yeah, not every week. So the guidelines to work within India is very tough. It's extremely tough. So when you see, so what we're doing now, we got 2 free schools. One in Singh, near Singh, in Kakra, one in Patiala. So if you don't know what we're doing in Punjab, these are free schools for the underprivileged. 4 tuition centers in the deprived areas, free of charge. We're expanding those. 235 families of those who lost their beloved or breadwinners after 1984, known as Chief Parvaz. Every month we give a pension of 3,000 rupees. That's a big commitment. Building a refurbishing a complete hospital in Jammu. £10,000 every month. This is every month, pounds, about 20,000 Canadian dollars for emergency operations, surgeries, for the underprivileged who can't afford it. A lot of the hospitals and areas know who we are. We get the call, we send a guide assessment. So when we're doing all this, a lot of you might ask, so what are you doing in Punjab? So we list it. They're not happy with that. Well, why are you doing that? It's like we're never happy. How do you think we manage that? It's so difficult to work in the country where money sending funds is so restrictive. That's the government guideline. You know, it's not just, you can't just say, oh, it's more than US Gandhi. That's how the government is, the setup is. It's very, very tough. But treating us especially is wrong. And then on top of that, we get so much jealousy from within our community. 2-3 years ago, we were getting a fake video on YouTube live put against us by those who are so-called punted behind it because they can't see Khalsa is doing well, because we wouldn't entertain them, political groups. We don't work with them. We're very independent. We don't affiliate with anybody, especially in Punjab, and they don't like that. So what they'll do, they make a video against Khalsa, some lies. Oh, Mataji didn't get a pension, this one. But 20 years, Mataji didn't get any pension. It's only 2010 when we set the pensions up, so it will be late sometimes, 3 months. But somebody will go make a video saying, oh, look at Khalsa, they're doing all this, but they're not doing that. So we get all this from within too. So Sangat is so generous, but there are people within us, minority, who can't handle the rise of Khalsa, and they want, you know, as they probably view, be part of something without earning it, and only use us for their political purposes. We don't do it. We never will. So working in Punjab, India, is very, very tough. It's the toughest, hardest, more harder than working with areas, like I said, where ISIS are coming up. You know, that's how hard working in India would be, harder than anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's very difficult to fathom. You know, you're within kilometers of ISIS front lines, and yet dealing in India is more difficult. Sending money to India is more difficult. I guess maybe to try to change directions, we go back to 1999, and Ravi Singh at the Vaisakhi 300th celebration, and in a moment, you know, Kosovo struggle was happening. Tell us about what happened, where you went, and the challenges you faced on that first mission.
Yeah, like we were talking the other day, it brings like a lot of memories. The mind is amazing how it locks up some certain parts of what you've done or what you've seen, the difficulties. It protects you in a way. So when you asked me yesterday, I remember all the details. So one of the details we talked about was how we decided to go to Europe and then to Albania by ship. And I remember, like I was talking about, there's an English guy with us, Tony, my friend, and about 5, 6 sea guys. So we got to Italy, and this is exactly, so this is the edge. There's the sea, there's the ferry. So we got Singhs all together, and they started doing ardas in Uchi. And you know, what do you think the ardas was for? Can anybody guess what the ardas was for? The ardas was for the trucks, because we weren't insured after that. We lied to the insurance company. Where are you going? We're going to Italy. You're not going to Albania. No, we're going up to Italy. So if something happened, we had to pay 50,000, whatever, for the truck, each truck. So we were praying for the trucks, not for ourselves. But luckily we came back. And it was like going into the bandit country. Albania was a rough, it still is, very rough country. So I remember we had some DJs, I think it was, and loud on the music, going to little villages. So they were going, Mujahideen, Serbia, Mujahideen. They thought we were Mujahideen. Now we come to free them from Serbia, because Serbia is bombing Kosovo, and Ravi going, Mujahideen, Mujahideen. So I said, hang on a minute, just keep doing that. So we kept doing that. I said, this is the best way to keep your truck safe. No one's going to mess with you. You're Mujahideen, guys. So we just kept doing that, And it was amazing. The first place was a church. We dropped some food to them. And that was when I was really shocked, because the teenagers, I'd never been so shocked. The first mission, you got these Albanian teenagers, they're showing their weapons, like all these weapons. They're like 14, 15-year-old guys with like semi-automatics, automatic. We're like saying, whoa. And he's going like, I'll shoot you. I was like, oh God. And it was like, it was so serious, like they were all armed. And then we drove into the border camp, and that was a tough place. That was like so much hustle bustle, and it was not safe. So we asked the UN, can we park in your car park for the night to be safe? And they refused. So it was crazy. It was empty car park, it was locked, they had a guard, they would not let us use the car park for the night. Then we had to hire a private guard. So as we're leaving, we've done the delivery. So the moment that you never forget, as we're leaving, so what happens, like, we got spare couple in, we're going to be home in about 15 to 18, 20 hours. So we thought, let's give our clothes and the food left over in a bundle to the refugees arriving. But when you're distributing aid, that is the most dangerous part. It's what you see us doing around the world, because we got there by making contacts, having a control. You can't drive into a camp and do a distribution. You'll be mobbed. People are desperate, and they feel they will be left out. So good luck to you. The best thing to do when somebody, you're distributing a camp and they come at your truck is to walk away from the truck, because they'll rip you apart too. People are desperate. So, as we're leaving, we got a bundle of clothes. So I said to Tony, who's with me, I said, Tony, so I got a few bundles ready. I said, okay, so we'll identify a group of family or few members. We'll speed up the van, go really fast, drop the bag, and run back in the van and get out, so you don't get mauled by others. So after the first one, the second drop was the one where we dropped the stuff. As I'm running to drop it, I saw there's an elderly lady, Kosovan lady, probably mid-80s, maybe more, and her elderly husband and her son. Those 40, 50 seconds were like crazy time. He was like, you're looking around, and the son was burning up. He had like something wrong with him. He was shivering, he was blind. And the mother, the elderly woman, got me on the table like this, like putting her both hands on looking straight in my eye, like that, like thank you, but it's like eternity. I still see that woman. She just looked through my soul. And I'm looking, this could be my mother, could be grandmother, and I'll never forget their face. I'll never forget the son, shaking, burning up, the elderly father. I have no idea what happened to them. But these are the moments that remind you about you're a human being. No matter what, refugees, where they come from, they're just like us. Refugees are people who don't want to be living in tents, 20 people in a tent, 10 people in a tent. They're like people like us. We were refugees 1947. We were refugees 1984 in Delhi. Now we judge refugees because we rather follow right-wing groups. What have we become? Would your guru today turn around a refugee Syrian family turning up for langar or shelter? No. So why are we following these, some of us following the right-wing groups? We have such beautiful example of langar. We become something something completely so cold.
So maybe Ravi, expand upon that and how that mission, how that moment in 1999 connected you on the Sikhi-inspired path that led to Khalsa Aid, and how the gurus and even there's some parallels to Sikh history that have played out in Khalsa Aid.
Yeah, I mean, so we chose the name. I remember tying the truck ropes in the Gurdwara for the Nagar Kirtan next day, Vaisakhi, April '99. And I started talking to myself, you know, you're such a deep thought. I said, yeah, Khalsa Aid. That sounds good. We're going to do Khalsa Aid because the Khalsa is such a great concept. Khalsa is the ultimate humanitarian. We will serve humanity through Langar, take Fateh. We'll also take arms to defend humanity. So you shouldn't be apologetic who you are. It's like, I see people on Facebook, oh my God, the Singh's got an arm or something, you know, he's holding arms. That's what we are. How are you going to defend others when you get attacked with flowers? That's what Khalsa is. We're meant to be saint soldiers. So so that we chose, and I was talking, the guy goes to me, oh, whatever. Then I realized I was talking to myself. And then I talked to Jatinder Singh, who's now the Khalsa Canada director. I've known him so long. And so the word Khalsa, we could have called it anything. There was no other organization on the Sikh community at the time. Khalsa is the first one. I wanted to call it Khalsa. A lot of the people who called themselves Khalsa after 1984 became synonymous with terrorism. You're Khalsa, you're terrorist. People at airports were stopped because they called Khalsa. That's how far some of the people against the Sikhs wanted to portray the Khalsa. So we wanted to bring that concept on a global level. So it was so good when the camp, when somebody's calling you, because it's Khalsa, they say, hey, Khalsa, Khalsa. You feel so good. You think, yeah, that's us. You're the Khalsa. So yeah, so you're talking about how some of the work links with the concept of the Khalsa. Like the Yazidi women in Iraq. Can you put your hands up if you know who the Yazidis are? Okay, you can, oh, thank you. Now, that's not really good, is it? You're a minority. We're talking about genocide. We're talking about injustice. We're talking about minorities. You're a minority, but you don't know what other minorities exist. This is what failed us, because we don't want to do anything for anyone else. What about us? The world's not doing anything for us. The Sikhs are struggling. Yeah, but what are you doing for the world? What have you ever lifted even a finger to help someone around the globe? Yazidis are 7,000-year-old religion in Iraq. Predate Christianity, Islam. They are the oldest faith in that region, next to the Zoroastrians and a few other groups. So ISIS decided to go after them, purely because they call them devil worshippers. ISIS was like rapid. The rise was like 200 men took Mosul because the army officers, Iraqi army officers panicked. 10,000 officers. The officers panicked, they left the city. The soldiers found out officers had left. 200 men took over the second largest city with $500 million gold and cash and diamonds in the banks and tanks and all the heavy armor. And then they came into the villages with the Yazidi. They took the Yazidi women. 4,000 Yazidi women were taken as slaves. We've got kids in there, so I'm not going into too much in detail. They suffered the worst genocide and treatment you could ever imagine. You can't even imagine what they get. You can't imagine it. You can't imagine it, what they suffered. You remember 200-300 years ago, the Sikhs used to hit the Afghani raiders who used to come into to raid Delhi, and they will take all the booty with them, all the war, loot and everything. And also they will take the women with them. They will capture Hindu women. And then the Sikhs would bring those women, rescue them, take them back to their homes. This is our history, only about 200-300 years ago. These Yazidi women, we don't even serve langar to. We don't even know they exist. That's how far we've gone. Our great ancestors gave everything for us. That's a shiny example of what you should be. And we become apologists, we become so distracted. So these Yazidi women are, in a way, those women 200-300 years ago. They haven't got any menfolk, they've been killed. They're on their own. they run away or they're rescued. We don't have a Khalsa army. If we did, I'll be the first one to go and say, right, we're going to go and bring these women back. The West didn't care. They bombed Iraq. The Assyrian Christians suffered a huge loss. If you don't know who they are, not Assyrian, Assyrian, A-S-S-Y-R-I-N. Assyrian Christians had been in Iraq since the time of Christ. All their churches, all their cathedrals, all the history been destroyed or almost destroyed by ISIS. But again, we don't know that. Yazidis being treated so bad. So I felt this is what we should be doing, supporting these women. So we are now at this moment supporting about 213. At one time supporting 500 women every month, food, clothing, and we give them the respect, the dignity they deserve. So that is the work of the Khalsa. Every Gurdwara in the West, or in West of the world, should be up in arms. How can these women be treated so bad? We should be making these women so comfortable to have a good future, help them. It shouldn't be just Khalsa aid. Your ancestors will question you saying, well, what do you do that? Well, we just watch TV and we don't know they exist. So, you know, everything around us, every oppression from the First Nations here, the lack of support, that we want justice in Delhi, but yet those guys who want justice and dignity in your own country, we don't even acknowledge them. So what have we become when we don't even look at our own backyard? Those, you know, in a way, we're the occupiers here for those guys. We complain about occupying back home. Everything has to be equal. Every person fighting for human rights is our friend. We Sikhs have a role in it. That's you're talking about the identity. There's a reason for it. It wasn't just to have a fancy color or a fashion. It's to be identified. There's a symbol of hope. There's a symbol. Why do you think Gurdwaras have such long flag poles and the Nishan Sahib at the top? Because it's a symbol of hope for miles. There's a Gurdwara, I can get food, I can get langar, and I can get shelter. And these are our mobile Nishan Sahibs. We were known in India before 84 that anything happens, go to a Singh. He'll protect you. They destroyed that too, through propaganda. We're terrorists now. Same thing's coming to Canada. The propaganda lies against the Sikh community, but good Canadians are standing up. They know the truth. So we have to be there for everyone. The Yazidis, very close to my heart. But then you have to be there for every single person who's going through, like there's a big debate going in Europe. If I'm saying, well, I don't agree Israel doing that against a Palestinian, it doesn't make me anti-Jewish, because we're not against any faith. So it's like saying Pakistan bombed this, and now we come anti-Muslim. No, we don't. Or India bombed that, or we anti-Hindu. No. Sikhs have gone through so much hate themselves, but we never became the haters. So we have the Khalsa. It's not just for the Yazidis. Our role is for everyone around the world, to the doorsteps of Punjab.
And I think on that, reclaiming that identity, reclaiming that legacy, and making that practical implementation is why so many people love and support Khalsa Aid. I think one of the things that some people are curious about is, we kind of touched on the philosophy of the formation and the missions that you do, but maybe the practicality and some of the challenges when you're actually going into some of these communities and kind of the struggle. I don't think you have a problem with volunteers and support, but some of the other challenges that you face when you are embarking upon a mission into any particular area, and how does the mission come about? How does Ravi Singh decide that we're going to support this group or help in this particular region?
Well, now we've got a great team in the office. Khalsa Singh leads the project. We always now look at the safety issue, like Ranveer Singh in the frontier went to Turkey, and I'm not sure while you were there or before, there was bombing in another region, same city was being, car bombs going off. So we can only do so much to check, but we always go into areas where we see, like now on the Congo and Zambia border, we're working with the World Health Organization, World Food Program, and the Zambia Red Cross, who said we run out of funds, can Khalsa support us food and medication for the Congolese refugees. We've been doing that since genuinely. Not many people know that. So we look at the risks, we look at where the needs are, where the big organizations are not going in, or where there's so much red tape, I'll give you an example about the compelling case, how we work so fast. So it's like the teamwork now that we decide where we go. But you know, initially in Iraq for a year or so, it was myself alone when it was very intense, the war. I always felt we couldn't send anyone in case something happens. Okay, it's only me. I don't want to get anyone else blown up. But then Kanwar Singh, Amarjit Singh, a few other guys started going because we had a great team. So what you see is, like I said, you see the delivery of aid. You see aid being delivered, but you don't understand the background, how we got there. We got to trust someone. So we look for a group in Iraq. We got a great coordinator, a young woman called Susan. She's a Kurdish, Muslim woman, worked with the Yazidis. But before we appointed as a coordinator, we knew the group she was working with. So, you know, the first mission I was working in Iraq was on the border with Syria, 5 minutes away. So if you are not alert, if you don't have your senses where you're going, landmarks, you might end up in Syria 5 minutes drive and you're sold. Because you don't remember, you got a British passport and you're great propaganda for beheading. And, you know, for the ISIS, they'll pay a lot of money. So you got to know where you're going, you got to know where's the driver, make sure, you know, the driver, where's got the keys. If he wants to go to the toilet or whatever, you need to have the keys. Now, the car has to be facing outside towards the camp so you can get out quick. All these things become natural over time, defensive mechanisms. When you're leaving the camp, you should be going left, not right towards the border. That was the closest I worked with the border areas. Now we're working within a little bit, 20, 30 kilometers from the border with the refugees. And still, it's the checkpoints, the danger parts. Because you got the bottlenecks, you got a long queue, can't go left, can't go right, can't go back. It's a perfect place for detonating suicide bombs or opening fire. We've been very fortunate. There's been many occasions, but we've been very fortunate. We never had that, but it's always on your mind. The project we choose is a teamwork, also lack of support from the international community, but the danger is always there. You can do all the risk assessment in the world. If somebody's determined to target you with a bomb or suicide mission or whatever, you can't do much.
And so, you know, and I think one of the difficulties with so much aid work and humanitarian work is a personal toll that takes on you and on a person. And how have you coped with that? And how is this work that you've done for Khalsa, which we all celebrate? You know, I think we're all very, very supportive of the work you do. But what toll does that take on you?
I think it's anybody who starts something, you start a project, it's a vision. Khalsa is a vision born from suffering. You know, our very injustices come back again and again. We are an answer to the world, to those who undermine us. We're not terrorists, we're humanitarians. We're Saint soldiers. When you're following that to build this mission, 2-3 weeks ago, I was at the Punjabi Film Awards, I was telling you, they wanted to present a pay of some individual businessman wanted to donate £50,000. He goes, can you come, Ravi Singh? We went. As soon as I walked in, the guy, a random guy, he goes, you don't remember me? You remember me? I said, no. Right, so, you know, I really hate just coming off totally off point. You know when you meet someone, they phone you and they say, Pechania, and you say, then they goes, Pechania, and I'm like, I'm tired. I said, oh no, God. Then you get Pechania? I really hate that. Just say who you are, for God's sake. Don't say that to me on the phone, right? Don't say, I'll cut you off. Anyway, so the guy goes to me, he goes, you don't remember me, but 99 now when you started Khalsa in Southall, in the Nagar Keys, and I was there, and I told you it's never going to work, because we done the plans, it wasn't going to work out. I said, well, we never followed plans. We have a plan, we're going to do this, we're really stubborn, and I'm going to do this. So personal loss, you're focused on one thing, that is the success of Khalsa. I want that name everywhere. I want people to know who Sikhs are. I want to know what the Khalsa is. So you're like blinkers, you lose family time, you lose much more I look back at the kids growing up, I don't want to come here. This is the longest trip I had on doing talks, like 9 days. I'd rather be with the kids now, they're growing up, 18, 16, 15, I just want to be, you know, spending more time with them. Maybe being a bit more lazy. You know, my brother's not well, my mum's getting old, but I want to be more with the kids now. But, you know, I lost that. But they grew up with it. So they grew up with it. My son, one of the sons turned 18, and his present week to go to the refugee camp in Lebanon, which he did go. Now the next one's going to go. But yeah, it has a bigger, there's so much detail. I can't tell you the detail. When you look back now, it's unhealthy in a way, obsession. And it's not for me. It was never for me. If this was for Ravi Singh, we wouldn't be a registered organization with 5 independent trustees. People like you can question us, money being all like accounted for, is separate, look after. I'm not even legally in charge of Khalsa, the trustees are. That's how it works in the UK. Ravi's been working with us for a while. And you can check what we do, you can ask us what we do. I'm driven by one thing. We're going to make an institution outside India that nobody can infiltrate, nobody can damage, nobody can undermine, because the Sangha will carry it forward. Thanks to you all, Khalsa Aid has become an institution. It's an institution for you all, and my job now is more than nurturing it, which these guys are doing now, is to protect it. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult task when you got those who are against you. Again, I come back to America, to Canada and the UK, where Sikhs are being vilified by the Indian press with terrorists. There's a campaign to paint us as terrorists because Sikh politicians, Sikhs are doing well, it's hurting someone out there. So I see the hate within sometimes individuals, and I'm thinking, fools, what are you doing? Well, I'm not doing it for myself. The other day, when I was doing a talk, somebody came up to me after, he goes, I don't want to really say it, but somebody told me you earn £2 million a year. And I said, no, it's 4 million. Oh. Dasina ke se dasina. 10 years we've done it free of charge because we're voluntary. We've done it, I believed in it. I lost my jobs, it was a blind vision. After 10 years, I took a small salary. And the last 3 years, my salary is £33,000 a year. That's basic, almost every salary in the country. It's not special. If I drop that tomorrow, you've got to bring someone in, you've got to pay 80, 90,000. So every Sikh charity, what we suffered after 84, you should be able to question me on anything. You shouldn't be saying, oh no, Ravi Singh, such a great figure, we can't question him. I never think of myself a great figure. I love meeting you guys. If you meet me for a coffee, pray, you ask me, because it's a failure after 1984 to ask someone saying, well, if you respect that gentleman, you ask him. If he respects you, he'll give you an answer back. If you give him money without asking, it's your fault, not his. We need to learn from our failures. So where's that 200,000 gone for that project we raised? You were there only for 2 weeks. Why are you still there? Why don't you ask these questions? You should ask everything. We're still, like I said, we're still in Haiti. We spent 3 times more than we raised. Charity can be so abused if it's not controlled well at the top. I have no idea what's going to happen when I'm gone, but we're building a very good team to make sure they're carrying on with the vision and to protect it. Protecting the charity is very difficult. Very, very difficult. Transparency. So you should not say to me, oh, well, I respect that guy too much. I can't ask him questions about, do you earn 2 million? So 33,000 last 3 years. It's a bit tough at times. My wife works. This is my salary. It struggles sometimes. I'm counting the, like, have I got enough money end of the month? But this is who I am. Like I said, the money, I don't even sign the check. I'm not even, one of the signatories alone on the bank account. It's all the trustees. I have to be a second signatory. So everything is done above board. We got great team, we got great stuff going on. Now we're in Canada. We're coming to you saying, what you've done in the last 5 years, say, forget before that, you give me another 5 years, and I can guarantee you, with your support and Guru Kirpa, Khalsa will become one of the main organizations in the world on humanitarian aid with a very different approach to the work. Very different. This sector needs reform. Can I just, for instance, let me give you one example. I was in Haiti negotiating in 2010, hiring a car. Small car and a driver separate. I said, how much? He goes, $200 and something, $250 a day. A day for a small car. Take it or leave it. So I'm there for like 5 hours, brought him down to 170. This guy from a big organization comes along. I want 10 cars. I want this sign. I want them now. Looking at this guy, he's just giving orders. Big organization, so much arrogance. It's not his money. He doesn't care. He's not going to negotiate. And I remember now thinking, he has no respect. He's like, some people, you give them a budget, they become like gods. They treat you like, they're servants. Like, that's why there's so many scandals. So we go to, say, Pakistan, earthquake. I want a truck, hire A to B. Normal price is 15,000 rupees. Because somebody else has gone in, say UWS has gone in, you send someone who doesn't negotiate, and you don't really care about the price, because you just want to do something. He said, how much? They all know he's from outside. In India and Pakistan, it's the same thing. And he knows it's 15,000, right? He has no idea. 15,000 for him is nothing, like a couple of hundred dollars. So the guy says to him, how many trucks do you want? Oh, I'll take all your trucks for a week. 30,000 a day. Okay, here, sign the papers. $300, I'll take them. What hope has the local business got now? That if you're the business lady sending fresh fruit from A to B, you can forget it. You can't afford that. He's going to pay. So charities destroy local economies, the bigger ones. So what we do, we work with mosques, temples, gurdwaras, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs. Classic case on the border with Libya, 2011, with all the war going on. We were buying water at a knockdown price because I talked to our good friends, the new generation Rotary Club Tunis. We flew the lady and the guy in, and we made contacts on the phone before I went. I said, I need your help. I need you to go to next time and negotiate for water. We were getting water at a knockdown price, and we were supplying it. Anybody else, you're paying double. So use the local people wherever you go. They have the knowledge, they have the passion, they want to do something. You got the funds, it's a great teamwork. Never think you're like a God figure, that you can change the world by throwing stuff around. That's the biggest problem. We have to keep grounded.
And that's very illuminating. I think that those practical challenges is something that none of us would ever uncover or understand. You touched on something a bit earlier, and maybe go back to this, which is the speed at which Khalsa aid is able to deploy. And we talked about what happened with the Rohingya, who are also facing genocide, and the speed with which Khalsa aid was able to leap into action.
Well, time is short, so I'll keep it very quick. Last August, September, when you all saw the Rohingya refugees crossing the border, I saw the report by my good friend, the reporter, Ashish Joshi. He's a reporter for Sky News. And it was shocking. It was late at night. I called Amarpreet Singh in Punjab, Patiala. It was early morning there. I said, Amarpreet Singh, this is really bad. You need to get out there. Get to Bangladesh. He goes, okay, Paji, theek hai, I'll take someone. He took Jeevan Jot with him. It was like so shocking. Amarpreet said, I've never seen anything like it. So it was Amarpreet Singh who done all the work. It wasn't Ravi Singh. We just initiated and supported Amarpreet Singh in Patiala, the director at the time of Khalsa Aid, still with us, as he's now a senior position. He led it. Within 2 days, those two were feeding 15,000 refugees, some are luck spirit. And then he called everyone else, all the team of Punjab. Within 4 or 5 days, we're feeding 35,000 refugees with hot, nutritious food, daily basis, thanks to Amarpreet Singh and the team. So the speed how we work and how it saves lives. As we say, time is short. Let me go to
Don't remember the time. The organizers say we can take it more.
So Amarpreet Singh and the guys, we work at such speed. We don't have red tape. You know why? You're giving us the money so freely. But when it comes to spending, we want to be so tight. Get on with it. It comes in, spend it, but think about where it's going in a measured way. So RP Singh worked and he saved lives. The other thing that comes to my mind, one of the most, if you follow my Instagram, it's at the bottom, at Ravi Singh London. If you keep scrolling, there's a lady, and there's me sitting with a ZD lady with a kid, and I've got the phone like this. On the back of the phone, there's a picture of 2 kids. So last May, Susan, our coordinator, phoned me saying, Ravi, another girl has come back. Although we know we got 500 on the books, can we add up for sport? This woman has 2 or 3 kids. The other 3 kids and her husband are still held by ISIS. She managed to escape, and she's in an unfinished building. What they mean by unfinished building is, when 2014 ISIS marched on Iraq, all the migrant labor, including the Indians, we helped them evacuate, and all the other foreigners, they left in fear. So the buildings remained unfinished, and it became like a refugee for those who are fleeing. And I said, yeah, I said, fine. And one more matter, just put it on food. So good thing about Susan, she went, she had some money, she put the food parcel, delivered it. Exactly a week later, Susan, who, like I said, was a 23-year-old young woman, Kurdish woman, our Iraq coordinator, she phoned me really late at night. So I looked at the phone and I said, oh my God, this is even later in Iraq. I said, something's happened. When somebody from a war zone calls you, you think something's happened. So she's crying on the phone, she's sobbing. I said, are you okay? She goes, I just want to tell you something. And I said, what's the matter? She goes, you remember that family? I said, which one? She goes, the one we put on food last week with a woman. I said, yes, I remember. If any of you go to Iraq, which you might do, you can meet that family. She goes, I said, something's happened to them. She goes, no, she's still crying. She goes, today she told me, she opened up to me, the woman. I said, what did she say? She goes, that day we met her in the unfinished building to give her the food. They've been hungry for 2 to 3 days. When you're in an unfinished building, there's no official camp near you. You don't get any support unless somebody generous gives you food. She goes, the children were hungry. She was hungry for 2 days. They had no food. And that night, she was going to kill the children and herself. That's the truth. And she's crying on the phone telling me this. And I'm like, really shocked. So I said, well, you saved her life. She goes, no, Khalsa saved her life. She goes, if it wasn't for you guys, the kids would be dead. She'd be dead. Today, that woman is a great success. We bought her a sewing machine, and it's on my page as well. She makes lovely dresses. Every month we go, we buy her fabric. She sells those dresses to make money. We still give them the food, and we're waiting for her husband to come back, which I don't think he will. I think if he hasn't come back now, he won't. But the children, I think 2 children are still missing. Most likely, the children we see when they return, they've been sold in a panic while ISIS are fleeing to Turkish families. So then they come back from Turkey. We're still in hope that children return, the other 2 as a husband. This is what you are doing. If to you guys, you know, that 2, 3 kids and that woman was live because you guys put us there. That's just one life. 3 lives, 1 episode. So we are very quick. Once we make the right partners, there is no red tape. Get on with it. You donate, we spend.
That's amazing. Very, very powerful story. Maybe before we kind of wrap up and ask how people can get involved, Ravi, the question is, one of the other places that I've seen in a positive story of the work that you've done, maybe touch on it a bit, in the Congo, where, you know, maybe a lot of people aren't as aware of the conflict that is going on there.
Yeah, the Congo situation is pretty rough. January, February were really bad. A lot of refugees leaving the conflict. Now some parts of the Congo are facing Ebola, a very deadly disease. We are still working very closely with Zambian Red Cross, who are asking for more assistance. Right now, on the border is Indi Singh, our ex-trustee, and his wife Jasprit. So they got married last year. They were doing a world tour for a year. So he ended up in Africa, in Kenya. And he goes, oh, Rav, how are you doing? I'm in Kenya. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I got a couple of weeks, whatever. I said, right. you want your honeymoon on the border, what about get to the border of Congo and Zambia? He goes, you want me to go on the border? I said, yeah, take Jaspreet with you. Jaspreet's close to us as well. So now the newlyweds are on the border with Congo. I'll be probably posting on Khalsa Instagram today or tomorrow and on the Twitter. So they are now on the border working with the Red Cross, with the Zambian Red Cross and the World Food Programme. There, I would reckon they probably want another, maybe in the next 3 to 4 months, $500,000 worth of food just to keep people alive. So we've given our commitment that whatever it takes, we will carry on. So these places like that, you know, like I said, we don't just go in, take a few photos, disappear, collect $500,000. We continue with the project. Like you didn't even know that we're there since January because it's something that's very underreported. So as the world is changing, the challenges we face, people who need help, natural disasters, conflicts, Yemen is a huge humanitarian crisis. How many people know what's going on in Yemen? There you are, see, we got 1 or 2 people in the front. Why don't you know what's going on in Yemen? I'll tell you why. My British government, your Canadian government, and the US, we are funding the Saudis, arming them. They're bombing the hell out of Yemen day and night, and there's a blockade. Humanitarian aid can't get in. There's been a cholera outbreak, killed so many children, but 10,000 plus children have been killed in the last 2 years, airstrikes by the Saudis, which we're helping with. So Yemen is really, really one of the worst places on earth. Kids are dying, but the humanitarian aid can't get in because of the blockade. So you need to educate yourself as minorities. The challenges in this new world, identity, very important. So be proud of who you are, but carry on what your guru started. And again, I will say the same thing. There are darker forces at work trying to split the Sikhs and the Muslim community, either back in India and around the world. So, again, it comes back to what Guru Tegh Bahadur did. He gave his life for another faith. He said, I might not believe in it, but they have the right to believe in it themselves, to follow the faith. That's what we are. We don't hate another faith.
It's very, very powerful stories. And Ravi, I guess to conclude, how can people get involved? How can people support Khalsa Aid? How can they be a part of what you're doing and the great work that Khalsa Aid is doing?
So we launched Khalsa Aid Canada now. We've applied for the registration number last October, November, but your government said we have to wait till May, which is now almost over, for there maybe for any inquiries. So we're waiting to hear if they're going to give us the charity number. Khalsa Aid Canada bank account is open. Any inquiry, anything you want to know, please don't ask me because I don't run this particular group. That's the Jatinder Singh in Victoria. So go to your Facebook, follow Khalsa Aid Canada. Khalsa Aid Canada on Facebook, and that will, you can send a message. We are looking for volunteers and coordinators in every city in Canada. So if you are interested, say, look, I want to volunteer, especially if we coordinate, it's a lot of commitment. So think about it. We need coordinators, and then get in touch with Jatinder Singh. Whatever questions you got about Khalsa Aid Canada, please get in touch with him.
Thank you so much, Ravi Singh. And just maybe to clarify, you know, when we were talking about people, and a lot of times people want to think about, can they get on a mission? Is there an age group? Is it just males, females? What? Can you kind of give us a bit more information about that?
Oh, it depends who pays me the most. So we want more like women to take, young women to take the step. We have so many young women, like Jaspreet Kaur, like I said, she married last year, and she's now on the front line in Congo and Zambia border. And we have many young women go to Iraq, doing therapy classes, workshops. And, so we want people who are passionate, driven by humanity, don't judge others. You have to be 18 plus to travel abroad, but we need to get to know you a little bit, your commitment to Khalsa Aid, before you send you abroad. Maybe you can do your Langar Seva here, no matter what you're doing, what group you're doing it with. For us it's important you're doing something. Once we get to know you, you'll end up on a mission. And sometimes a particular mission may not be suitable for you. So we'll let you know as well. Because like the ZD Women, that program is very tough because they want to tell you they're suffering. They will actually make you sit down to tell you what they've gone through. They desperately want to tell the world. So it's depending what you're suitable. So get involved. There's no restrictions on gender, but age restrictions are there, and your health. And but all that you can ask also info@khalsa.org questions to us as well. The more we know you, the more you'll likely end up on in Iraq or mission. Don't worry, man. He's in Iraq. Because I don't know you till yesterday. So again, you know, we honor our individuals in the community, like Paisab here, who founded WSO. So many people at the time who struggled. Don't forget the struggles of those. We might not think that they're doing a good job at the time. Some of the people we meet now who think, oh well, but they've given so much. They've given so much what they could. And then people like us have opened this great organization which is still here. So we've got to remember that we didn't get here without shahidiyan, without sacrifice. But it all comes down to humanity at the end of the day. And again, do not be apologetic talking about injustices anywhere in the world. That's a Sikh, subcontinent. You cannot be, you shouldn't shut up about it. You should be shouting the most as a Sikh about injustices. We are born to fight injustice. We had so many struggles, and we're still asking for justice. So keep speaking up.
Well, thank you, Ravi, on behalf of the Canadian Sikh Sangat, on behalf of the WSO, we commend the work you're doing. Thank you so much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji